Hey, it's CarlyRae here, and I'm doing an all-new video segment on my YouTube channel. It is my writing journey. Now, I have been writing and coring for about 3 years, and I know a lot of you guys are like, well, you've been online so much more than that. Why haven't I heard about you writing? Well, that's the thing. Like, I was like really, really nervous about sharing my writing journey on my platform because, I have a larger audience and I was nervous about putting it out there saying I've written something because I was like, if I don't get an agent, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you're a bad writer. Like, you can read, but you can't write. And I was like, I just didn't want to put it out there. Like, it was something really personal. I wrote this past year like werewolf paranormal YA book, and I queried it out to about 40 agents over the pandemic, and I did not hear back from like almost all of those agents, and the agents I did hear back from said no. So all this was happening during quarantine, and I didn't want to talk about it on my platform because, like I said, it was something personal, and I didn't think I could handle the rejection I was getting on my book and getting messages of people like, oh, well, just stick to reading because it sounds like you can't write. But I decided I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to talk to you guys about it, and I'm going to bring you guys along with me. And if you guys have an agent, if you guys are also writing a book, I'd love to hear from you guys because, like I said, it's something personable and it's something I decided I want to take the jump and bring you guys along with me. So I am writing my third novel. It's a YA fantasy, and I know like a lot of people like say like, oh, well, maybe you should do a different genre. Okay, maybe, but I decided, I really want to write YA fantasy, so I am sticking with the fantasy and trying it again on this YA novel. Now, my writing journey started about 3 years ago where I was seriously starting to write, maybe 4. And I started getting into reading. I always loved Twilight. Now, I know a lot of people might hate me for this, but like the Twilight, the book, I wasn't always captured by Stephenie Meyer's writing. Like, I thought there was a lot of long descriptions in it, and I thought some of the stuff was really unnecessary. So it wasn't her writing that inspired me. It was basically her story of bringing in fantasy mixed with reality. So I decided my first book ever was going to be vampires. Okay, yeah, like I wrote one draft of that and then I didn't do anything with it again. Then I decided to really, really focus and write one with like angels brought into the real world. So I decided to really buckle down and write this book. Now, when I started writing this book, it took me about a year to write it. And this was like my first ever book. I have no experience in writing. I did not go to college for like creative writing or anything. And creative writing in school wasn't really my strong suit. Yeah, I had really no experience. So I basically taught myself how to write a book, and it took me a year. And then I was like, okay, let me try corying. And corying kind of freaked me out because I was like, what if I send a query to an agent, I don't hear back, or like they like steal my idea? Okay, I know it's like a misconception, but again, like this was like my first time writing, so I had like no experience or anything with that. So that was like really freaked me out. So then I decided, so I'm just gonna put it out there and I'm just gonna query. So I did, and I didn't follow like any rules. I researched how to query. I came up with my query, and mind you, anybody really read my book? I had my mom read my first one and her like give me notes on it. So that was where like my first, I guess it was like a YA paranormal romance came in. And I put together my query and everything, sent it out. And I didn't even send it out like in little bits. I sent it out to like 30 agents, okay? I did not get one like full request, partial request, anything. Then I got one of the bigger agents request a full manuscript, and I was like ecstatic. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like it. And I sent her like the full book, and I was a little freaked out because I was like, what if she hates it or something like that? Well, I heard back after a month and it was a no. And her criticism was like she couldn't really connect to the characters, but she gave me the option to resubmit to her. So I spent another year, or actually I think it was like 6 months, rewrote the book again, didn't have an editor or anything, like rewrote the whole book, like from start to finish, resubmitted to her, got a no again. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't, do this anymore with this book. And so I kind of like stepped back, and I really still wanted to write. So I decided to write a young adult like werewolf novel. So I guess it was still paranormal. And this one took place in like Alaska, and she like moves there, and the like guy's a werewolf and everything like that. So I decided this time with this book I was going to get a freelance editor. So what is a freelance editor? Okay, a freelance editor is somebody who basically you have to pay for, and they are pricey. Like I'm going to say, like I had to like save up to have an editor because it does cost like a couple $1,000s. And this was like my first ever. And like I said, I didn't go to school for writing, so I was like, okay, let me, invest in this because this is something I really want. So I got a freelance editor, and I did a developmental edit, which is where they basically go through the whole book and then give you like 10 pages of like information from like start to finish, where they tell you like, hey, this character needs work, this character doesn't develop, this chapter's slow, this chapter doesn't move the the plot along. So that was like my first intense, I would say, like writing session of writing. And I took all the critiques, and I view it as, it's not criticism, but it is. But I believe to become the best writer you can be, you got to take all that criticism and you got to apply it. So I applied everything she gave me. Then I did the copy line, or I think it was a line edit, where they like go back through each line, because you don't want to submit a book to an agent with like a bunch of mistakes. And I think that was like some like the problems with the first one too, is I was doing it myself, and when you're really attached to writing, you don't really see everything. So I did that. I even had her help me with my query, and I sent it out. Well, I started querying this book during the pandemic, and I got like nowhere. Okay, I heard from no agents. I didn't even get a no this second time of querying. I got 0. Okay, I got a request from one agent, and I'm still waiting to hear back. So I don't really know if that's a good or bad thing. If you guys have queried and you guys have gotten full requests and it's been months since you've heard and it's a good thing, like I'd love to hear from you guys, because again, this is like my first time doing it. So I kind of like hit a pause on that book because I was like, I'm getting nowhere on this book. So during the pandemic, I decided to write another book, and this one is a YA fantasy book. It takes place from 2 characters' perspectives, and I really feel like I wouldn't have been able to write this book a few years ago without reading as much as I read. Like, it was really hard for me to write, okay? Between the 2 characters, the boy-girl perspectives, and everything like that, the plot is a lot deeper, I feel like. So this book I sent to my freelance editor that I worked with my first one, and I'm waiting to hear back from her. She's doing the developmental edit right now. So I'm waiting to hear her thoughts. So fingers crossed, like she likes this book, because if I get like 20 pages and she's like, hey, Carly, like what went on with this book? I'm going to be like, oh my gosh. But I have a good feeling about it. I read over and I really enjoyed it. So I'm waiting to hear back from her. So I just want to give you guys an update and say, like, I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to bring you guys along with me. If this book does not work out in getting an agent, you guys are going to know, and I'd love to hear about who you guys recommend for, like, agents as well. Like, if you are an author watching this and you have an amazing agent that you work with, I'd love to hear who it is. If you guys are currently querying and there's somebody you recommend, again, it's YA Fantasy. I'd love to hear from you guys, though. I really wanted to bring everything in and get you guys in on my journey, and I kind of got over being freaked out about talking about it on my channel, because I'm like, if I'm going through this, I feel like other people are too. And I know a lot of people assume just because I have a big presence in the book community, it's super easy for me to get an agent, and it has not. It has been 3-4 long years, okay? And there are times and I know a lot of people that get a rejection. You guys know, it really hurts because it's something personal. And so I just felt like I needed to talk about it on here, and I'd love to hear again what you guys have to say, because this is something super personal, and it's something that I was a little nervous to put on there because I wasn't sure I could handle all the messages of people putting stuff out there. So, yeah, that's why I decided to kind of just come on here and share my journey with you guys and talk about it. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on querying, writing, how it is getting an agent, being published, and everything like that. I'm going to be doing more videos about where I talk about my book journey, but this week I just kind of wanted to announce, yes, I have written a book. I'm querying. It is not easy, and to hear more about you guys. I hope you guys are having a great day, and stay tuned because I'm going to be bringing you guys along more while I talk about my book journey with you. So, hope you guys have an awesome day. Be sure to subscribe. You guys can follow me on social media, on Instagram at HeyitsCarlyRae, Facebook, HeyitsCarlyRae Book Club, Twitter, HeyitsCarlyRae1, or HeyitsCarlyRae.com. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye! My soul to scream out.